streets. And then Papa Combs decided that he would like to be a caring man.
I adopted you like Madonna adopted kids, and everybody else adopted kids. Charlize Theron, everybody that's ever adopted Sandra Bullock.
This isn't even the first time Madonna has been accused, or there has been calls for her to be investigated for child.
All these stories has been around the industry for a long time. All these industry people know that Diddy been acting like this and doing this.
When you come across adoption stories, it's often filled with joy and happiness. But when it came to Diddy's adoption of Ava Baroni, there was a much darker reception. The video of Sean Diddy Combs introducing his adopted daughter, Ava Baroni, resurfaced just a day after his two homes were raided for.
Breaking news, the Department of Homeland Security has just confirmed to CNN that federal law enforcement agents have raided properties owned by musician and producer Sean Diddy Combs.
In the clip from 2020 shared on TikTok, Diddy is seen during a live session on Instagram asking Baroni to introduce herself to his followers. "My name's Ava. I'm a Scorpio," the teen began, but Diddy interrupted her asking for her last name. "Ava Combs Baroni," she replied.
Ava Baroni Combs? Yes, it was breaking news. Diddy adopted a white child.
My name's Ava. I'm a Scorpio.
No.
The rap mogul, aged 54, then announced that he had adopted the white child. In the video, Baroni humorously shared that she was on the streets before Papa Combs decided that he was going to be a caring man.
I was on the streets. And then Papa Combs decided that he would like to be a caring man.
She continued, saying that he saw her, picked her up, and invited her to stay with his kids, emphasizing her close bond with Diddy's twin daughters, Jessie and Delilah. While Diddy admitted that Baroni's account of events was a little bit borderline suspect, he asserted that he adopted her similarly to Madonna, Charlize Theron, and Sandra Bullock adopting their children. He explained that he felt she would benefit from having a black parent to support and care for her, mentioning that he received permission from Baroni's mother before proceeding with the adoption.
I adopted you like Madonna adopted kids, and everybody else adopted kids. Charlize Theron, everybody that's ever adopted Sandra Bullock.
At the time, we thought that Diddy was great to do this, right? Because there was a pandemic, and children needed all the love they could get. But now, people can't stop giving him the side eye for many reasons. Now, the video comes across as just being very weird, and people had a lot to say. It was very weird indeed. But that's not the only big red flag here, because he compared this adoption process to that of Madonna, which is an interesting comparison because people have pointed out how there are some shady parts of Madonna's adoption as well. According to reports, Madonna didn't exactly adopt her black kids the legal way, unless last year it was revealed that she was being accused of illegal human trade and exploiting young ones by a charity organization called the Ethiopian World Federation. And some people claimed that she tricked the parents into letting her have the kids by promising to give the children a great education in the US and then return their kids, only for her to turn around and adopt them, allegedly. So what's interesting is that this is what Diddy is basing his adoption on, which says a lot. Even more so, people are wondering why Diddy had mostly his sons in that video and not showing a lot of his daughters. I mean, Ava said that she wanted to play with Diddy's daughters, so why weren't they there? Just his sons. And don't even get me started on how uncomfortable Ava looked in the video. People are now wondering if she was uncomfortable because of the vibe in the room. Apart from Diddy, his sons have faced some concerning charges as well. Justin was named in Lil Rod's lawsuit, and Christian has a whole lawsuit of his own. And this has people guessing. But the biggest red flag here is how she seemed to disappear after that one video. I mean, sure, she was spotted out with Diddy's twins, Jessie and Delilah, a couple of times, but that was really it. She wasn't in any family photos or videos or anything like that. It's like she just disappeared. And considering that Diddy was insisting that she call him Papa Combs, you'd think that he would keep her around longer than 5 seconds. But considering the recent occurrences, the TF-icking allegations, and the allegations of Diddy treating women badly, well, fans are starting to wonder if Diddy might have allegedly done something to Ava, and that's why she's been so silent. Well, this is where we saw Diddy's former bodyguard, Gene Deal, step in like top-flight security. And not only did he expose Diddy for allegedly treating Ava horribly, but he claimed that Diddy allegedly used her for clout and then dumped her when he was done. According to Gene, Diddy's plan was for him to score cheap points by adopting a homeless girl that he found on the streets during the pandemic and then loving her like this, except he didn't actually quite love her like she was his own because it was all for the cameras. Gene also talked about the allegations of Diddy doing something wrong to Ava. Ava. And while he didn't exactly come out and spell it out, he hinted at it very, very strongly, saying that everybody in the industry knows that Diddy is that way.
All these stories has been around the industry for a long time. All these industry people know that Diddy been acting like this and doing this.
Sadly, he's got a point about how the industry lets people slide with bad stuff. I mean, we've seen it happen time and again with guys like R. Kelly, Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby, and Jeffrey Epstein. Even Cassie spilled in her own lawsuit that Diddy kept a bunch of yes men around who were all too happy to cover up his sketchy behavior. So when Gene Deal brings this up, it really makes you wonder what's really going on. He even hinted that Diddy might have some not so great videos of Ava, if you catch my drift. And supposedly the feds were on the hunt for those kinds of videos.
It was going on the premises of they're looking for pictures of girls that may appear to be underage. So now they're gonna go through all those devices. If somebody got any kind of weird fetishes.
This situation becomes increasingly chaotic and worrying when you factor in the numerous women who have taken legal action against Diddy for deeply inappropriate conduct since the early 90s. This indicates that Diddy has allegedly been involved in such behavior for a span of at least 30 years. For starters, we have Joey Dickerson-Neal, the latest woman to step forward with some seriously wild accusations. She claims that Diddy allegedly spiked her drink and then did some truly heinous stuff. Talk about a horror story. According to her lawsuit, Diddy had been hounding her for a date, but she wasn't interested. She'd heard all about his shady reputation with women and wanted no part of it. But somehow she caved and agreed to go out with him. And that's when things went from bad to worse faster than you can say red flag. According to reports, the complaint alleges Combs intentionally Dickerson-Neal, leaving her unable to stand or walk. The suit said she left her drink unattended with him at the restaurant, and afterward, under alleged pressure from Combs, she took a hit from a blunt. They then drove to a music studio. The suit stated that when Dickerson-Neal couldn't exit the car, Combs allegedly took her to a place where he was staying to essay her. Even worse, she revealed in the lawsuit that Diddy had made a video of him essaying her and shared it around. Reports had it that days later, a male friend named Devontae Swing, a member of the popular 90s R&B group Jodeci, revealed to Joey that he viewed an adult tape along with other people. According to the suit, Joey said Swing feared his band would lose its record deal if he spoke against Combs. Another woman claimed that Diddy and his friend Aaron Hall got her and her friend totally drunk, and then he and his buddy Aaron Hall allegedly did some seriously messed up stuff. Yeah, you heard me right. This victim decided to keep things on the down low and filed her lawsuit anonymously. Jane Doe spilled all the tea, claiming they all crossed paths at an event hosted by MCA Records. But instead of a fun night of partying, it turned into something straight out of a nightmare. According to her, Aaron and Diddy were super charming during the night, offering drinks and being friendly. After that, they invited the ladies for an after party at Aaron's place. According to reports, while at Hall's apartment, Jane Doe was offered more drinks and was coerced into being intimate with Combs. After Combs finished doing his business, Jane Doe lay in bed, shocked and traumatized. While Jane Doe was trying to get dressed, Hall allegedly barged into the room, pinned her down, and forced Jane Doe to be intimate with him. Then there's the other anonymous accuser who claimed that she was just 17 when Diddy and a gang of his friends allegedly assaulted her at his studio in New York. She claimed that Harv Pierre, the former president of Bad Boy Records, allegedly picked her up from Baltimore on Diddy's behalf and flew her in Diddy's private jet to New York, where they allegedly got her drunk, and then proceeded to allegedly assault her. The court said that while at the studio, Monsieur Doe was assaulted by Mr. Combs, the third assailant, and Mr. Pierre in that order. While Mr. Combs was assaulting Monsieur Doe, he complained that he could not get off unless she pinched his nipples as hard as she could. Mr. Combs then watched as the third assailant, who Miss Doe had not even realized had begun assaulting her, as she told him to stop. After the third assailant finished, Mr. Pierre took his turn and then forced her to give him oral action, during which Miss Doe was choking and struggling to breathe. The lawsuit also said that when Mr. Pierre finished, he left Miss Doe in the bathroom alone. Miss Doe fell into the fetal position and lay on the floor. Her privates were in pain. Finally, after a period of time, Miss Doe regained her bearings. However, she could barely stand up and had to be helped to walk out of the building and back into a car. She was taken back to an airport and flown back to Michigan. However, she has very limited recollection of her transport home and only remembers being in her car sometime early in the morning. Even worse, 2 more women have come out in the past 2 weeks to claim that Diddy allegedly assaulted them, and they brought separate lawsuits against him, bringing his total number of assault lawsuits to 7. 7 lawsuits in less than 6 months is just some business. For those who haven't been following the drama, a fifth woman has come out to accuse him of allegedly assaulting her in 2003. The woman is a model named Crystal McKinn, and according to reports, she claims the rapper plied her with alcohol and possibly laced grass during the 2003 encounter, then brought her to a bathroom and forced her to her knees, demanding she perform oral S. Reports went on to say that McKinn alleged that when she refused to comply, Combs grabbed her head and forced her to perform oral S on him. She lost consciousness and awoke in a taxi, realizing she'd been assaulted, although it remains unclear whether she meant there was an additional assault beyond the oral encounter. Fans were quick to point out how similar this lawsuit is to the one filed by Jane Doe last year. You know, the same lawsuit where she claimed she was allegedly picked up by Harve Pierre in Michigan and taken to Diddy's studio in New York, where she was supposedly essayed by Diddy and his friends. According to reports, she and Diddy met at a Men's Fashion Week event at a club. He invited her to his studio afterward. Once there, McKinn alleged they drank some expensive booze with friends and then began passing joints around the group. The grass was very powerful, so much so that she began to feel like she was floating and feared it had been laced with another substance. Combs then made her go to the bathroom, where he forced himself on her, McKinn alleged in the suit. After the incident, McKinn claimed she was blackballed from modeling and became so depressed that she tried to kill herself in 2004. So allegedly, not only did Diddy hurt her, he also ruined her career. A sixth woman named April Lampros claimed that she had 4 terrifying intimate encounters from the mid-1990s to the early 2000s. She accused Diddy of battery, assault, SA, negligent infliction of emotional distress, and gender-motivated violence. According to reports, the documents also contain claims that the plaintiff has suffered and continues to suffer harm, including physical injury, severe emotional distress, humiliation, anxiety, and other consequential damages, for which she is entitled to an award of monetary damages and other relief. Allegedly, it happened when she was an intern at Arista Records, where Diddy also worked under Andre Harrell before going on to start his own label, Bad Boy Records. April also claimed that around a couple of years ago, Miss Lampros was told that a video of her and Sean Combs having been recorded by him, without her knowing it, said he showed it to multiple people. So the thought of Diddy adopting a girl child when he has a history of this behavior is super concerning. But it's not just ladies that have been enduring Diddy's bad behavior. Young Usher also went through a similar situation as Ava. For context, during an interview on The Howard Stern Show, Usher shared stories from his early days in New York City, including living with Puff Daddy as a teenager and hanging out at Flavor Camp for parties and gatherings. Reportedly, Usher was guided into the world of fame and wealth by Combs, who took on the role of his mentor and had Usher live with him. Usher shared that as a teenager living with Diddy, he was naturally curious about what was happening around him. However, he found that some of the things he discovered were not appropriate for someone his age to be exposed to.
And I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you
New
over
York
to
City.
something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor Camp.
Yeah,
Flavor
that's what it
Camp.
was called.
Sean Diddy Combs noticed Usher when he was just 14 years old, and he quickly signed the young talent to Bad Boy Entertainment. However, with that came the new lifestyle that Diddy had been living.
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and like nonstop, right?
No, not really. I
Come
mean,
on.
but hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you
I
seeing?
went there to see the lifestyle.
However, that lifestyle has had a lasting negative impact on Usher, as he discovered things happening around him as a young artist that he didn't understand at the time.
I don't know if indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
Jumping ahead to the present, Usher opened up about the less glamorous side of his early career in a 2012 interview with Oprah Winfrey. He explained that when he was young, Combs introduced him to wild and crazy parties. Usher has openly discussed that as a teenager, he shouldn't have seen some of the things he did. He revealed that Diddy's lifestyle went against many rules, but it continued in Hollywood, where he and many other young artists were spoiled.
With Puffy in that time, or the Tunnel. But these are places that a 13-year-old probably should not be. I'm around grown women, and I'm seeing them do things and have experiences that I'm not quite ready for.
Usher admitted he felt pressured to do things he wasn't ready for, emotionally or mentally. Looking back, he regretted some choices he made back then, but he did what he thought was best at the time, based on what he knew.
That's not what I was there for. I was there because I wanted a career, man. So we would fight, we would tussle. More than often, I think Puffy would say, man, you gotta chill, like you just a little bit too intense. And I'm telling him, look, you're gonna put me in the studio, man. You got Biggie Smalls in there, you got Craig Mack in there. you're gonna make me a priority too.
However, Usher wasn't the only one facing this alone. Amidst all the allegations and lawsuits against Diddy, even Usher spoke up. But what's worse is the resurfaced video of Justin Bieber and Diddy. Recently, an old video of him and then underage Justin Bieber circulating online has caused the internet to assume the worst. Many fans were blown away by the unsettling idea that he might have been allegedly doing some really shady stuff with the underage star back then. The circulating video appeared as Homeland Security raided Diddy's mansions in LA and Miami. It shows Sean Love Combs standing next to the young pop star saying, "He's having 48 hours with Diddy. Where we hanging out and what we're doing we can't really disclose."
Right now he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like you know, where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose.
He further added, "But it's a 15-year-old's dream. We're gonna go full crazy."
It's definitely a 15-year-old's dream, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So, and we gonna go full crazy.
Puffy was even heard talking about Usher in the video. He mentions that although he's not Bieber's legal guardian, he had custody of him for 48 hours because he was signed to Usher. Diddy also claims to have had legal guardianship over Usher, who was also a teenager at the time when he worked on his first album.
I have been given custody of him. You know, he signed to Usher.
I'm signed to Usher.
I had legal guardianship of Usher when you know he did his first album. I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship of him.
Social media users immediately began to worry about what Diddy's close association with these underage children at the time might imply. Many online users labeled these videos as creepy and disturbing, while others were relieved that the darker side of showbiz was finally being brought to light. Diddy also promised to gift Bieber his white Lamborghini as soon as he turned 16.
As soon as you turn 16, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna let you rock this every time you come in LA. Yeah, this gonna be yours. So every time you come in LA, it's a little dusty.
However, Bieber didn't seem to take the rapper's generous offer very seriously. Bieber told People magazine, "Diddy said when I turn 16, he will give me his Lamborghini. But we all know Diddy's not going to give me his Lamborghini, he's all talk." Even Justin couldn't understand why Diddy was being so generous. He even said he would gift him a mansion when he turned 18. It turns out that Diddy was trying to lure him with expensive things that any kid would desire at Justin's age. After all, it's like being a sugar daddy in exchange for sugar. Fast forward to today, Justin revealed that he had been regularly using and facing the most difficult time of his life. Many fans speculated that it was because Diddy exposed him to an illicit environment during his childhood.
It was a time where I was sipping lean, I was popping pills, I was doing Molly, you know, shrooms, everything, and it was just an escape from me.
Even though this has come to light now, and the truth is known to the world through lawsuits, Justin has mostly remained silent, but has hinted at the struggles he faced in coping with the trauma. Many fans speculate that Justin has hinted at the trauma he experienced while being with Diddy as a teenager.
It just got scary. I basically said to myself, oh my God, if you're real, you get me through this season.
As fans looked more into Justin's struggles, they found a video where he's standing with Diddy, looking uncomfortable and avoiding eye contact. Many fans saw this body language as a sign that Justin might have been going through trauma he couldn't talk about because of Diddy. Many fans speculated that he stayed quiet because he was just a teenager at the time. But people aren't blind to what might be happening behind the scenes.
Starting to act different, huh? You ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
Well, I mean, you try to get in contact with me, you know, through all my, partners and whatnot.
What's even more surprising is that recently, many people, including Lil Rod, who filed a lawsuit against Diddy, alleged that he had spiked their drinks with to make them submissive towards him, allowing him to control them as he pleased. Jones, who seeks $30 million in the federal lawsuit, named several high-profile figures in the entertainment business in the complaint, but only Diddy's son Justin Dior Combs, Universal Music Group chief executive Lucian Charles Grange, former Motown Records chief executive Ethiopia Habtemariam, Chalice Recording Studios, the record labels, and Diddy's chief of staff Christina KK, Quorum, Love Records, and Combs Enterprises are named as defendants. The network of involvement, Jones claimed, amounts to a violation of the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, RICO. The Chicago-born producer, who produced 9 songs on Diddy's 2023 The Love album, Off the Grid, filed the lawsuit Tuesday in U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York. In the 75-page complaint obtained Tuesday by The Times, his attorney Tyrone A. Blackburn said that Jones' life has been detrimentally impacted ever since. He agreed to produce the album in August 2022. Jones alleged that he was under an implied work-for-hire agreement with Combs and that he lived with the recording giant for months at a time in Combs' homes in Los Angeles, New York City, and Miami, as well as several weeks on a yacht rented by Combs in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Throughout his time with Mr. Combs, Mr. Jones witnessed, experienced, and endured many things that went far beyond his role as a producer on the Love album, the complaint said, and that Combs required Jones to record him constantly. He also alleged that Combs tried to groom him into engaging in S with fellow producer Stephen Aaron Jordan, Stevie J, and promised to make sure that Mr. Jones wins Producer of the Year at the Grammys if he engaged in homosexuality. He also provided Jones with alleged footage of people involved in sexual activity at Combs' home, which Jones believed was procured through hidden cameras throughout Diddy's properties. Mr. Combs possesses compromising footage of every person that has attended his freak-off parties and his house parties, the complaint said. Upon information and belief, due to this treasure trove of evidence he has in his possession, Mr. Combs believes that he is above the law and is untouchable. Jones also alleged that he was essayed by a cousin or assistant of rapper Young Miami, who has dated Diddy, was essayed by Oscar winner Cuba Gooding Jr., and obtained footage of a rapper and an R&B singer, whose names have been redacted from the complaint, consorting with underage girls and S workers. On several occasions, Mr. Combs took Mr. Jones' cell phone and began recording himself. As a result, Mr. Jones has secured hundreds of hours of footage and audio recordings of Mr. Combs, his staff, and his guests engaging in serious illegal activity, the complaint said, which includes screenshots of several of the incidents mentioned in the complaint. In any case, it appears that Ava Baroni might have recognized the troubling reality of Diddy's behavior and chosen to distance herself for her safety and well-being. Given the numerous allegations and lawsuits against him, her decision seems wise. Anyway, that's it for this video, folks. Bye.